Imagine being expelled from a luxury resort under the watchful eyes of condescending guests, only to return and teach them a lesson that will change their perceptions forever. This is a story about using humiliation as an opportunity to reveal true strength and dignity. My name is Nora Caldwell. That day, I stepped onto the glass floor of the Azure Bay Resort. My simple dark blue skirt and white blouse sharply contrasted with the modern interiors and panoramic windows framing the majestic view of the Pacific Ocean. Adjusting a strand of my dark blonde hair, woven into a loose braid, I surveyed the other guests dressed in undeniably expensive outfits made from organic materials. After a half-hour drive from a local eco-workshop where I was inspecting items for my foundation's auction, I arrived at the resort to personally oversee the preparations for the upcoming Coastal Impact Summit. I enjoyed attending to such details myself, reminiscent of the days when I organized charity events in a barn behind my grandmother's house in rural Montana. "I'm here to check on the preparations for today's summit," I said to the administrator, whose smile slightly faded as she took in my modest appearance. "Do you work for one of our exhibitors?" the girl asked, lowering her voice to a whisper. I calmly smiled. "No, I'm the summit organizer, Horizon Reservation." The administrator's fingers danced across the touchscreen, her brows furrowed. "I don't see your name on the VIP list. Are you a foundation employee?" "I am its founder," I replied with a slight note of humor in my voice. "My husband Julian was supposed to send a notification in advance. He'll be arriving on his yacht later." A man in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit approached the desk. His tight smile didn't reach his eyes. "Victor Hensley, Director of Operations," he introduced himself, adjusting a silver pin with the resort's logo on his lapel. "Is there some kind of problem?" The administrator whispered something to him, and Victor's eyebrows rose as he evaluated me from head to toe. "Ma'am, this is a private premium eco-resort," he began with barely concealed arrogance. "The Coastal Impact Summit is a prestigious event for industry leaders. Perhaps there was some misunderstanding on your part." I remained unflappable. "No misunderstanding. I'm Nora Caldwell. My husband and I—" Victor's condescending laugh interrupted my words. "Excuse me, Mrs. Caldwell. The renowned social entrepreneur, wife of Julian Warwick, wouldn't arrive unescorted and dressed like that," he said, gesturing dismissively at my modest attire. "I have identification," I said calmly, reaching for my eco bag. Victor waved it off. "Anyone can generate a digital ID or print a fake document nowadays." At his silent signal, 2 security officers materialized beside us. Other guests began discreetly filming the scene on their smartphones, hiding behind their cocktail glasses. "Let's not make a scene," Victor continued. "We can't allow everyone to claim they're an important guest." I noticed an influencer quietly recording the scene for their followers. Perfect. This would spread faster than a wildfire. "I understand," I said calmly. "May I at least visit the restroom before leaving?" Victor hesitated, then gave a brief nod. "Quickly." As I headed towards the ladies' room, I overheard him instructing the guards. "Ensure she really leaves the premises. These eco-activists seeking publicity can be very persistent." In the elegant restroom adorned with live plants, I locked myself in a stall and retrieved my phone. No one was around. I sent a short message to Lily, my operations manager. "Plan tied. Azure Bay, 2 hours." The response came immediately. "Understood. Initiating protocol." I smiled as I put away my phone. Julian and I developed this system after the 3rd instance of me being underestimated due to my unassuming appearance. Instead of arguing or proving my status, I preferred to let such situations unfold naturally. The lessons learned this way left a deeper impression. Exiting the restroom, I found 2 security officers holding tablets. "Miss, whatever your name is?" asked the taller one. "Mr. Hensley has instructed us to escort you off the premises immediately." "Of course," I replied calmly. As we walked through the majestic foyer with panoramic ocean views, Victor stepped away from the desk to oversee my departure personally. His eyes glowed with the professional satisfaction of someone who had completed an important task in protecting the resort's exclusive status. Guests turned to watch the unfolding scene. A simple woman in a modest skirt and blouse being escorted out of the premium eco-resort. "Perhaps next time you'll ensure proper accreditation under your real name," Victor loudly commented for everyone to hear. "We only host the Coastal Impact Summit because Mr. Warwick is a valued partner in our renewable energy initiative. His wife is known for her impeccable, sustainable fashion sense, which some clearly lack." Several guests, interrupting their conversations about social entrepreneurship, curiously glanced my way. I didn't react, holding my head high. At the entrance doors, I quietly noted, "I will certainly mention your hospitality to my husband." Victor smirked. "Oh, sure. I'm certain your techno-magnate will be very impressed by your imagination, although I doubt he even exists, like your supposed connection to the Horizon Foundation." We reached the main entrance, and one of the guards pointed to the guest electric vehicle parking lot. "Shall I call you a taxi?" he asked with a tone suggesting I could hardly afford it. "No, thank you," I replied. "I'll manage on my own." As the transparent doors hissed closed behind me, I leisurely started down the winding stone path, feeling the gaze of staff at the reception on me. Reaching the shoreline, I turned left and walked along the coastal trail encircling the resort's grounds. Soon, I found a cozy cafe perched on a rock with a breathtaking view of the Pacific Ocean and ordered a lavender latte, the perfect spot for some reflection. Looking down at my silver bracelet, a simple heirloom from my grandmother, I noted the time. 1:40 minutes until the summit began. My phone vibrated. A message from Lila. "Julian en route, arriving in 95 minutes. Package to arrive in 20. I sipped my aromatic latte, watching pelicans soaring over the coastal waves. I felt no anger. Life had offered greater prejudices to confront. Before meeting Julian, I worked as a cashier in a grocery store and tutored students to pay for college in rural Montana. Many times, I was underestimated, ignored, dismissed. Julian suggested we end such scenarios by making my name recognizable in media, but I refused. "Those who judge a book by its cover," I used to say, "deserve to be surprised by what lies within." Exactly 19 minutes later, an elegant Rolls-Royce with the Horizon Foundation logo pulled up at the cafe. A woman in a business suit exited, scanning the terrace before spotting me. "Mrs. Caldwell?" she quietly inquired, approaching my table. "Yes, Carla. Thank you for being so prompt," I replied. Carla Vance placed a biodegradable garment bag and a compact eco-suitcase beside my chair. "Ms. Lila mentioned you needed this urgently. Everything's fine, just a small misunderstanding that will soon be sorted out," I smiled. "Care for a drink?" "No, thank you, Mrs. Caldwell. I need to get back. It's a rush at the office with presentation preparations for today's summit, and Mr. Warwick was quite insistent when he called." I nodded, aware of Julian's business resolve, though he never pressured me or our staff. "See you later then, Carla, and thanks for your help." After Carla departed, I picked up the packages and headed to the restroom. 15 minutes later, I emerged transformed. My simple dark blue skirt and white blouse were replaced by an elegant sea green silk dress, adorned with pearl highlights. My previously braided hair now flowed softly over my shoulders. A minimalist silver necklace, a gift from Julian for our 5th anniversary, sparkled at my neckline. Paying the bill and leaving generous tips, I returned to the coastal trail. Walking past eco-boutiques and organic restaurants, I noticed how the attitudes around me had shifted. Where I was once nearly invisible, now I received admiring glances and respectful nods. I checked my watch again. A little over an hour left until Julian's arrival, and it was time to move on to the next stage of the plan. I dialed a number. "Hello, Malcolm. It's Nora Caldwell. Yes, all is well, thank you. I need a small favor regarding today's Coastal Impact Summit." Malcolm Reese, a successful property developer and owner of the boutique resort chain, including Azure Bay, was currently at a conference in Scandinavia, leaving day-to-day management to managers like Victor. I briefly explained the situation to Malcolm, emphasizing that I didn't want Victor to be fired, just to learn a memorable lesson. "Are you sure?" Malcolm chuckled. "I could remove him with a single call. It's not the first time his overly strict protocol approach has caused issues." "No, that's unnecessary," I replied. "Julian and I have a more beneficial idea for everyone involved. You two have always been able to turn problems into opportunities. Consider it done. I'll contact Victor to alert him about Julian's arrival, but from you, of course, not a word." "Perfect. Thank you, Malcolm." Ending the call, I continued my walk along the picturesque shoreline path leading to the resort's private beach. From there, a stunning view of the pier where Julian's yacht would dock awaited. My phone vibrated. A message from my husband. "Almost there. Are you all right?" I smiled, typing a reply. Never better. Victor has no idea what's coming. Almost physically, I could sense Julian's smile as he replied, "Great. Solstice is ready for a grand entrance. Love you." Stowing the phone away, I continued my leisurely stroll. All elements of the plan were coming together. All that remained was the right moment to return to Azure Bay, not as the dismissed modest woman, but as Nora Caldwell, ready to deliver a lesson in respect. Meanwhile, at the Azure Bay Resort, Victor Hensley was enjoying a day that seemed to be going perfectly. Having successfully removed the imposter claiming to be Nora Caldwell, he personally inspected the conference hall with its glass walls, preparing for the evening summit. Every detail needed to be impeccable when the real Julian and Nora Caldwell arrived. "Mr. Hensley." The administrator's voice interrupted his micromanagement of chair arrangements. "You have a call on the priority line. It's Mr. Reese." Victor tensed immediately. Malcolm Reese, a successful developer and owner of the boutique resort chain, rarely contacted operational staff directly. "Right in my office," he said, leaving the conference room with determined steps. Once at his desk, he took a deep breath and accepted the video call on a small screen. "Mr. Reese, what a pleasant surprise." "Victor," Malcolm's voice sounded unusually serious, with minimalist Scandinavian interiors visible behind him. "I just received alarming information. Julian Warwick's yacht, Solstice, is due at our pier in about an hour. I want you to ensure everything is prepared for his arrival." Victor felt a surge of pride. He had been entrusted with an important task. "Of course, sir. We are fully ready to welcome the Caldwell couple." "This is somewhat different," Malcolm sharply interrupted. "Julian is arriving ahead of schedule and doesn't seem to be in the best mood. Something about a mix-up today at our resort." Blood drained from Victor's face. "A mix-up?" He speculated, not delving into details, but mentioned something about his wife. I thought you were aware of it. Victor frantically began analyzing the situation. Could the woman he had escorted out really have been Nora Caldwell? Sir, this morning, there was a woman claiming to be Mrs. Caldwell, but she didn't match the profile in our database. She was dressed very simply, not at all as one would expect from... The extended silence on the other end of the video call made Victor break into a cold sweat. Finally, Malcolm spoke. Victor, have you ever personally met Nora Caldwell? Well, no, but one reason the Horizon Foundation chose our resort for its flagship event is that Nora highly values authenticity and avoids ostentatious consumption. She is hardly present in social media and seldom appears on magazine covers. Victor felt his confidence rapidly dissolving. The photo in our system is probably outdated or taken at one of the rare official events. Malcolm continued. Listen carefully, Victor. Julian Warwick's yacht is 200 feet of innovation, equipped with cutting-edge technologies, costing more than our entire resort, and it's on its way here with a very displeased tech entrepreneur on board. When the screen went dark, Victor's hands trembled visibly. He quickly turned to search engines, trying to find images of Julian Warwick. There were plenty of photos of the tech entrepreneur at various conferences and events, but as Malcolm warned, there were very few of Nora Caldwell. The rare images showed her as an attractive woman clearly avoiding cameras, often turning away or standing in the shadow of her more public husband. Victor whispered, "Oh my God," as panic gripped his throat. He called the administrator via the internal system. Immediately provide me with all available information on Julian Warwick's yacht. Within minutes, he was studying detailed descriptions of Solstice, one of the most innovative, environmentally friendly vessels in the world, launched for Warwick 3 years ago. Equipped with advanced solar panels and a hybrid engine, it featured multiple decks, a helipad with helicopter, and could host 18 guests and 20 crew members simultaneously, producing minimal carbon footprint. According to the Coast Guard monitoring data, the yacht was indeed approaching their pier. Victor urgently summoned staff in the atrium. "Attention, everyone," he addressed the gathered staff. "This morning, we likely made a serious mistake. The woman claiming to be Nora Caldwell was most likely Nora Caldwell." An anxious whisper swept through the employee group. "Julian Warwick's yacht will arrive in about an hour, and we need to ensure an impeccable reception. Jaden, contact the pier team. Eliza, prepare the welcome area with local snacks. Oliver, ensure the presentation about our sustainable development initiatives is ready." As staff dispersed to carry out tasks, Victor stepped onto the open terrace, gazing at the horizon. In the distance, the silhouette of the elegant yacht was already visible, impressive even from afar. Its design with innovative streamlined forms stood out against the backdrop of traditional yachts in the bay. The phone rang. "Pier manager, Mr. Hensley, you'd better come down here. Solstice has requested priority docking. They'll arrive in 25 minutes. Victor adjusted his pin on his lapel and took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm on my way." He was about to meet Julian Warwick and attempt to explain how he escorted his wife off the resort unless he found her first and managed to somehow make amends. Solstice approached with undeniable grandeur, shimmering in the afternoon sun's rays, drawing the attention of all present, resort guests, locals, and staff alike. Everyone gathered to witness this technical marvel. Victor stood at the pier's edge, behind him, an hastily assembled reception group, chilled champagne, local ingredient snacks, and an exhibition showcasing the resort's ecological initiatives. Everything was organized to impress the highly esteemed guests. When the yacht completed its maneuvering, Victor couldn't help but appreciate its price. A little over $100 million with all integrated technologies, enough to fund the construction of another resort. The person he was about to encounter could destroy his career with a single email. The yacht's gangway gradually lowered to the pier. Victor forced a professional smile, though his crisp shirt suddenly felt too tight around the neck. Julian Warwick appeared on the upper deck, fit, confident, with short dark hair, elegantly graying at the temples, dressed in a flawless deep charcoal suit. He radiated the calm competence of someone who had revolutionized an entire industry with his innovations. His face remained impassive as he descended towards the welcoming group. Victor stepped forward, extending a hand. "Mr. Warwick, welcome to Azure Bay. I'm Victor Hensley, Director of Operations. We are honored." Julian walked past without acknowledging the extended hand. His gaze scanned the assembled group, seemingly searching for someone. The staff exchanged anxious glances. "Mr. Warwick," Victor made another attempt, trying to keep up with the tech entrepreneur's confident stride. "Regarding this morning, there was an unfortunate misunderstanding." Julian abruptly stopped, turning to Victor. His attentive dark eyes, accustomed to analyzing the most complex technological problems, now studied the Director of Operations. "A misunderstanding," he repeated evenly, with noticeable steel notes in his voice. "Is that what you call disrespectful treatment of my wife and her forced escort off the premises?" The whisper among the gathered intensified. Some guests, witnesses to the morning incident, now watched with eyes wide open, beginning to grasp the extent of what had happened. "Sir, I can explain," Victor began, his voice noticeably faltering. "I'm sure you can," Julian coldly replied, but immediately turned and signaled to someone on the yacht. The crowd fell silent as a familiar figure appeared on the upper deck of the gangway. I, transformed, stood there, embodying elegant restraint in harmony with the surrounding nature. My dress softly shimmered in the sunset's rays. The minimalist silver necklace nobly glowed on my neck. Descending the gangway, I noticed the crowd parting. Those who witnessed my morning expulsion now looked with unabated amazement. The woman they deemed as nobody was returning as a recognized leader of social change. Julian extended his hand to me, and I accepted it with a slight smile. Together we turned to Victor, whose face had taken on a shade of recycled paper. "Mrs. Caldwell," he stammered. "I am at a loss for words to express how deeply I regret." I raised a hand, halting his stream of apologies. "Mr. Hensley," my voice rang calmly and confidently over the silent pier. "Ahead is the Coastal Impact Summit. Perhaps it would be more appropriate to discuss what happened in a more suitable setting." With this simple suggestion, I took control of the situation without raised tones, threats, or public humiliation, just with the assurance of a person aware of their worth. As Julian and I made our way to the main building of the resort, the gathered guests respectfully parted before us. Some even nodded slightly, perhaps out of respect, or perhaps out of shame for their earlier behavior. Victor, with no other option, followed us, his career prospects seeming to diminish with every step. In the privacy of a conference room with panoramic views of the ocean, Victor stood before us with Julian. His usual meticulousness was replaced by obvious insecurity. "Mr. Warwick, Mrs. Caldwell, I offer my sincerest apologies for the unacceptable treatment of Mrs. Caldwell today. There is no excuse for my behavior." Julian maintained a composed, stern expression, but I examined Victor thoughtfully. "You know, Mr. Hensley," I began, "I grew up in rural Montana. My father was a carpenter, and my mother drove a school bus. I worked as a cashier in a grocery store and tutored to afford college. Victor blinked, unsure of where I was going with this. I founded the Horizon Foundation even before meeting Julian with just $3,000 in savings. Now, we annually create professional training and entrepreneurship development programs for young people from disadvantaged communities. I paused. Young people, like me once, who could be judged by their appearance rather than their potential or skills. The message was clear. Victor looked down at his shoes. "I'm not seeking your dismissal, Mr. Hensley," I continued, much to his surprise. "That would be counterproductive. I have a more constructive proposal." Julian gave a barely noticeable smile, already knowing what was coming. "Our foundation is expanding its mentorship program, inviting experienced professionals to share practical knowledge with young people starting their careers. You'll dedicate the next 6 months to teaching hospitality skills to the young participants in our programs." Victor quickly nodded. "Certainly, Mrs. Caldwell. I'd be happy to." "And one more thing," I added, displaying the same wit I reserved for tense situations. "We'll announce at today's Coastal Impact Summit a new initiative, a scholarship program for future professionals in sustainable hospitality. Azure Bay will fund the training of the first group." Victor realized this was not a negotiable offer. "I'll coordinate this with our Sustainable Development Department immediately. Moreover," I continued with a faint smile, "you will personally oversee this partnership program. Who better to teach young people the importance of not judging a book by its cover?" Victor swallowed, realizing the magnitude of the consequences of his morning decision. "It's an honor I'll strive to live up to, Mrs. Caldwell." I stood, signaling the end of the conversation. "Excellent. Now, if you don't mind, Julian and I need to prepare for the summit." When Victor left, Julian took my hand. "As always, brilliant," he said with genuine admiration. "You turned a conflict into an opportunity for all parties involved." I smiled. I hope today he learned a valuable lesson about how sometimes the most unassuming people can have the greatest impact. "And what about authenticity?" Julian asked. "Ultimately, it's more valuable than any technological innovation," I replied, caressing my grandmother's silver bracelet. Looking through the panoramic window at the solstice gently rocking on the waves by the pier, I reflected on how quickly perceptions and evaluations can change in our world. My gaze lingered on the simple silver bracelet, a reminder of my grandmother who always said, "Never let others determine your worth." In a world where people are often judged by appearances or material attributes, my story serves as a reminder. True character is revealed not in what you wear or own, but in how you build relationships with others and the values you embody. Did you like the story? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next interesting story. See you tomorrow.